Arrival of the unbroken. The sky over Earth turned dark at noon. They didn't come quietly. They didn't hide. The Empire wanted everyone to see their arrival. Over 200 star cruisers hovered above the planet, their hulls black and silver, casting long shadows over cities, oceans, and forests. Each ship carried elite warriors, beasts in armor, trained in galactic war zones. They were the strongest the Empire had. Inside one of the Empire's flagships, General Varn stood. Tall, 6 arms folded, golden eyes glowing. "Send the broadcast," he growled. A signal was sent to Earth. Every screen flickered. Every transmission was overridden. A calm, robotic voice spoke in hundreds of languages at once. "This is the Empire. Your leaders have refused peace. Surrender, and your lives will be spared. Resist, and Earth will be reduced to silence." On Earth, people watched the message. In a small base deep in the Rocky Mountains, a group of humans sat quietly in a dark command room. The lights glowed red. On the large screen above them, the face of General Varn stared down. Silence. Then a man leaned forward. His name was Commander Ray. He wore no medals. His face was scarred. His eyes were tired but focused. He smiled. "Send." No reply. He said. The officers around him exchanged glances but nodded. One pressed a button, and the signal from Earth went dark. Above them. The Empire waited. They waited for fear. They waited for surrender. But none came. In the orbiting flagship, General Varn frowned. "They ignore us?" They cut transmission. "Sir," his aide replied. "Arrogance," he hissed. "Deploy the Vanguard." 4 dropships broke away from the main fleet and flew into Earth's atmosphere. They glowed red-hot, tearing through clouds like fireballs. Each ship carried 100 elite warriors' claws, energy blades, shock rifles. They landed near what once was a major human city now. Abandoned. Or so it seemed. The ramp of the first ship dropped. Empire soldiers marched out with heavy boots. They were tall, armored head to toe, eyes glowing under helmets. The city streets were silent. No humans, no resistance, no noise, only a soft breeze and falling ash from some long-dead fire. One of the warriors removed his helmet and sniffed the air. "Too quiet," he muttered. On the 12th floor of a nearby half-destroyed building, a drone sat still, hidden in the shadows. It had no weapons. It only watched. It sent a signal. Deep underground, Commander Ray received the feed. He watched as the Empire soldiers spread out, confident, careless. "They think we ran." A soldier next to Ray said. Ray smiled again. "No, they think they've won." General Varn watched from orbit. His mood was calm. "They offer no challenge. Begin setting up forward command centers. Earth will be our new base of control for this arm of the galaxy." His officers cheered. One even laughed. No one noticed that the laughter didn't reach Varn's eyes. Something inside him whispered, "It's too easy." In the human base, technicians worked quietly. They were not arming missiles. They were not launching attacks. They were watching, tracking, studying. Each Empire dropship was tagged within seconds. Underground cables began to hum. Old machines hidden for decades began to awaken. Black metal groaned under pressure. Somewhere in an old museum, a child stood before a glass case. Inside was a helmet from Earth's first interstellar war, a war no alien remembered, but every human studied. The child looked up at her mother. "Are the monsters coming?" Her mother smiled softly and touched her head. "They already came," she said. "Now they'll learn." Empire units began spreading to nearby zones. They found no civilians. No soldiers. Technology. Only empty streets and strange carvings on the walls. One soldier paused near a wall where 4 words were etched. Deeply We never surrendered. Remember that." He turned, confused. Then he noticed something behind him, a small red light blinking from a drone's eye. Then it was gone. In orbit. General Varn stood tall, but his instincts twisted. "Why have we seen no resistance?" He asked aloud. His commanders didn't have answers. "Sir," an aide said nervously, "some of our scanners are picking up movement underground." Varn narrowed his eyes. "How much movement?" The officer hesitated. "Across the planet, sir." Commander Ray stood before a long screen. The underground base was alive now. Machines built in silence, hidden for decades, were activating. Weapon systems, AI command nodes, Black Ops satellites. He reached into a locked drawer and pulled out a badge. It bore no nation's name. Only one symbol, a human skull inside a sunburst. Ray looked up at the team. "Let them land," he said. "Let them think they've already won." He paused. "Then we show them why Earth smiles before war." Asterisk. They landed with fire. The Empire's dropships lit up the night like falling stars. 14 more came down from orbit, each carrying another unit of elite soldiers. Fire trailed behind them as they broke the atmosphere. Trees shook. Oceans boiled. The planet groaned under the weight of the invasion. To the Empire. This was a victory march. To Earth. It was just the beginning. General Varn stood on the main deck of his flagship. Through the viewing glass, he watched Earth rotate slowly. Below, he turned to his second-in-command, a large insectoid warrior named Grax. "Send a signal to the entire planet," Varn ordered. "Let them know their future is already written." Grax nodded and tapped the panel. A voice echoed across all frequencies. "Your skies now belong to the Empire. Your silence is taken as surrender. Bow, or be erased." But still no reply. Not even one. The Empire soldiers spread across Earth's surface. They moved through forests, cities, deserts. One squad entered a small mountain village. No resistance, no humans. Only strange black birds watching from rooftops. Another squad scanned. A deep canyon. Their scanners picked up whispers of energy, just flickers, then gone. They assumed it was ghost tech. Malfunctions. They were wrong. At the edge of a desert zone, a team found something odd. A playground. Empty swings moved in the breeze. Sand shifted softly. A broken toy sat in the dust smiling. One soldier picked it up. He turned to speak, but the ground beneath them collapsed. Screams vanished into the dust. 10 warriors gone in seconds. The rest rushed forward, weapons raised, but there was nothing. Only silence, and the toy, still smiling, deep underground. Commander Ray watched the live feed. His command team stayed focused. No shouting, no panic. Not one officer said, "Their best soldiers are scattering. They're overconfident." Ray nodded. "Perfect. The further they spread, the more alone they are." Another voice chimed in. "Phase 1 complete. Would you like to proceed?" Ray looked at the screen. The map of Earth was now full of blinking red dots, enemy locations. He nodded once. Start the storm. High in orbit, General Varn felt uneasy. His men were recording strange disappearances. Soldiers lost in ancient ruins. Units gone silent in cities that looked abandoned, but weren't. He growled. "Do they use illusions? Psychic traps?" "No signs of that," Grax answered. "But something is watching us." Varn's eyes narrowed. "Then let's burn their shadows." The order went out. Burn zones. Full sweep. No life spared. Empire. Warships launched energy strikes into Earth's forests and canyons. Fires erupted. Mountains cracked. Oceans boiled in pockets of light. But the moment the flames touched a hidden point near an old power plant, everything changed. A single satellite in orbit blinked blue. A silent command was sent back to Earth. beneath an old dam in a forested region. Something ancient stirred. Metal plates unsealed. A chamber opened inside. Black armor suits stood in rows silent, waiting. Red lights flared to life inside the helmets. They stepped forward slowly, precisely one by one. The silent division was awake. In orbit. Sensors on the Empire flagship began to scream. Multiple energy spikes, non-standard tech signatures. The technician barked. Where? General Varn demanded. All over Earth, underground, under lakes, even beneath old ruins. Then the main screen lit up. A live feed. A human face appeared. It was Commander Ray. He looked tired, but he was still smiling. Your best have landed, Ray said calmly. But this is Earth. He leaned forward. We're not done smiling yet. The signal cut. Back in a destroyed city, one of the Empire's strongest warriors, Captain Zur, stood in the middle of an old marketplace. He turned slowly, weapons ready. Then he saw far down the road, walking calmly, a human. One man. No armor. No weapon. Just walking. Zur raised his weapon. Stop. Identify yourself. The human kept walking. Closer, closer. Then the man smiled. Zur fired. The energy blast ripped through the air, but the man wasn't there anymore. From the side, another figure appeared, and another, and another. Dark armor, silent footsteps. 10 humans, then 50, then 100. The Empire's finest were suddenly surrounded not by soldiers, but by ghosts. Black-armored ghosts with no sound, no fear, and one purpose. To end everything. Asterisk. The mistake they never noticed. The Empire believed they had the advantage. Their soldiers had landed. Their ships covered the skies. Their weapons were ready. But what they didn't see was what Earth had not done. They had not panicked, had not responded. They had only smiled. And that was the mistake the Empire never noticed. Deep in the command room beneath the mountains, Commander Ray stood silently, staring at the battlefield map. Enemy positions flashed across the screen. Hundreds of red dots moving slowly, confidently. They were spreading farther across Earth. Ray spoke without turning. Are they being tracked? Yes, sir, the officer replied. Every squad, every ship, every breath. Good, Ray nodded. Let them keep marching. In a quiet forest near the equator, an Empire patrol moved through thick trees, scanned for traps, heat signals, and weapons. Nothing. Got only bird song and the wind. But just as one soldier stepped forward, he noticed something strange. There were no insects, no animal sounds. The entire forest felt hollow. He opened his mouth to speak. A soft click echoed under his foot. His eyes widened. Boom. The forest erupted in fire. Not from human bombs, but from ancient Earth tech plasma mines. Buried 40 years ago, the blast didn't just take the squad. It cut off a supply chain that ran deep into the Empire's forward camp. And still, no humans were seen. Only damage. Only destruction. Only whispers. General Varn's face was tight with frustration. Why are my elite squads going silent? He demanded. His command deck grew tense. We believe they're walking into old traps, General, Grax answered. Very old. And very clever. But it's more than that. What do you mean? Grax pulled up a screen. It showed a map of Earth with their fleet's positions. And then he overlaid a second image human movement. It matched perfectly. We thought they were scattered, Grax said slowly, but they're guiding us. Herding. U.S., Varn growled. You mean we're not hunting them? They're hunting us? Grax didn't answer. He didn't have to. At the edge of a broken city, a squad of Empire elites entered a subway station. They scanned it. Empty. Dark tunnels stretched ahead. One soldier flicked on his helmet light, and stepped forward. As his boots echoed in the silence, he heard something. A voice. Human. Very faint, almost like a whisper. You should not have come here. He froze. Who said that? The voice replied. You already lost. You just haven't realized it yet. The lights above flickered, then died. Darkness swallowed them whole. No shots fired. No screams. Just silence. Up above, drones circled the city, tracking everything. In the command center, Ray's team smiled quietly as signals blinked out one after another. An officer spoke. 3rd Division is now ready, sir. Urban shadows are clear. 37 squads have disappeared. Ray gave a small nod. They'll understand soon, he said. But by then, they'll be too tired, too scattered, too afraid. Back in orbit, General Varn barked orders. Recall half the fleet. Bring them down. I want an orbital base on the surface immediately. But as his command ship began to descend, the sky ahead shimmered. Suddenly, 20 small objects uncloaked. Tiny, silent, human stealth drones. They weren't firing. They weren't attacking. They were watching. General Varn stared at them. Each drone had a symbol painted in blood red. A smile. Just a smile. Then every drone played the same voice, Commander Ray's voice. Just 6 words. Still think we're not ready? Then the drones self-destructed, without damage. Only shock. A warning. A message. Now, even the Empire's strongest began to hesitate. Not from wounds, but from fear. Because nothing made sense. Humans were supposed to be primitive. Weaker. Less advanced. But everything on Earth was planned. Prepared. Waiting. One. Empire commander shouted to his team. Why do they smile? Why don't they attack? A nearby soldier answered without turning. Because they know they don't have to. Under the Earth's surface, in a hidden room behind 5 steel doors, a terminal flickered awake. A female voice came from it. Protocol Apex, Phase 2. Ready. Commander Ray stood beside it, hands behind his back. His team waited. He spoke 2 words. Soft. But final. Begin disruption. Suddenly, across the world, Empire ships in orbit went dark. Engines stalled. Weapons failed. Communication lines scrambled into static. From space. It looked like their fleet had gone blind. One by one, a system-wide blackout. And still, the humans hadn't even fired a shot. Asterisk, the first move, the Empire had weapons. The Empire had fleets. But Earth had silence. And silence was scarier than any scream. General Varn stood on his darkened flagship. Around him, the control panels blinked with error lights. The command crew was panicking. Navigation offline. Communications scrambled. Power core stable but unresponsive. Sir, we're blind. General Varn clenched his jaw. Fix it, now. But deep inside, he already knew this wasn't a malfunction. This was Earth's doing, and it had just begun. Far below, deep inside Earth's crust, the first wave of Protocol Apex activated. Massive doors slid open beneath ancient mountains. From the shadows emerged the Black Phantom's elite human operators in armor darker than space. Their suits absorbing all light. They said nothing. They didn't need orders. They were the orders. They moved like shadows swift. Unseen, unstoppable. In the ruins of a shattered city, an Empire command outpost was buzzing. Dozens of soldiers were reviewing maps, preparing new formations, trying to re-establish contact with orbit. Then it happened. The lights flickered, then turned red. Someone screamed. Then nothing. No explosion. No gunfire. Just gone. When a scout team arrived minutes later, they found the command outpost empty. No bodies. No blood. Only one thing remained, carved into the metal wall. This was your first mistake. In the Earth Command Center, Commander Ray studied the live feeds. He stood calmly, arms crossed, as his officers called out updates. 17 forward bases erased. Power in orbit still offline. No response from their main fleet. They're paralyzed. Another officer turned, concerned. Sir, are we going to attack now? Ray's eyes narrowed. Not yet. He looked at a large red button labeled Phase 3, Engagement. We haven't made our first move yet. Meanwhile, Empire Commander Zur stood with his remaining troops in the middle of a cold valley. They were jumpy. Weapons drawn, scanners scanning nothing. He shouted, "They're hiding like cowards." Just then, the wind stopped. No birds. No clouds. Only one sound of footstep. One single human footstep echoed across the valley. Everyone turned. A lone figure stood on a ridge above them, cloaked in dark armor. Face hidden behind a black visor. The figure slowly raised its arm. No weapon. Just a hand. And it made a small motion, like a wave. Hello. And dozens more appeared behind him. They didn't speak. They didn't charge. They waited. Zur's troops opened fire, but their shots hit nothing. Only empty air. The phantoms were already gone. Seconds later, screams echoed from the trees. One by one, Zur's soldiers vanished into the cold. Zur dropped to his knees, trembling. "They're not soldiers," he whispered. "They're nightmares." In orbit, Grax finally turned to General Varn. "We have to retreat. This isn't war, it's punishment." Varn didn't respond. He was staring at a small screen. It had just flickered back to life. On it was Commander Ray. Same calm voice. Same tired face. Same quiet smile. Ray said, "You came to crush Earth. You brought your best. Now we begin." The screen went black. And then Earth made its first true move. Over 20 launch silos opened across hidden parts of the planet, but they didn't fire nukes. They fired pods. Each pod contained one human. Just one. But each human was a walking arsenal, part soldier, part machine, part legend. They weren't there to destroy. They were there to prove a point. And they landed directly inside Empire ships, still trying to fix their systems. Within minutes, fires broke out on board. Fires that couldn't be stopped. Because the human wasn't trying to escape. He was walking calmly through the hallways, marking targets. The Empire had never seen soldiers like this, because they weren't just trained. They were chosen, and now they were unleashed. General Varn gripped the railing of his flagship. He looked at the blue planet below. How did this happen? He whispered. And for the first time in his long career, he felt something unfamiliar. Asterisk. What lies beneath? The Empire thought they understood Earth. They saw the green forests, blue oceans, and aging cities. They believed it was just another soft world with soft people. But they never looked deep enough. Because beneath Earth's surface, something ancient was waiting. Something built not for peace, but for revenge. Commander Ray stood in a dark chamber far below ground level 0. Place only a few knew existed. Thick black walls hummed with quiet energy. This place wasn't on any map. It had no name. Only one warning written across the vault door. Do not awaken unless the stars burn red. They were burning now. Around him. Machines older than modern nations came to life. They had been buried decades ago. Some before even Ray was born. Artificial minds linked to planetary defense grids. Weapon arrays hidden in old tunnels. Orbit cannons disguised as weather satellites. Everything hidden in plain sight. No. Everything was active. An old voice echoed from the terminal beside Ray. It was digital, but it sounded human female, warm, calm. Apex core systems online. Human priority confirmed. Enemy presence validated. Activation approved. Ray didn't smile this time. He just whispered, "Show them what Earth really is." On the surface, Empire troops gathered around damaged command towers, trying to repair what they could not. Suddenly, the sky above them shifted. Not clouds, not ships, something. Cloaked. Then it decloaked. A structure that didn't fly, but floated. A black fortress the size of a mountain, hovering just beneath the clouds. It had no engines. It made no sound. And it had no name, because even humans feared what was inside it. One soldier whispered, That's not a building. That's alive." Then it opened, and from it, dozens of black spheres fell smooth, glowing red at the core. They didn't explode. They sank into the Earth. And Earth responded. All over the planet. The ground cracked. Not from bombs, but from awakening. Old war machines rose from soil and snow. Tanks that walked. Drones that blinked. Cities that were never cities at all, but weapons in disguise. One forest near Alaska turned out to be camouflaged. Missile rays. A lake in South Africa opened like a lid, revealing a spiral staircase of lights, going miles underground. One Empire commander saw it on the screen and whispered, "We never invaded a planet. We invaded a trap." General Varn stood frozen in silence aboard his flagship. His crew stared at the screen in disbelief. "This can't be," one whispered. "This level of defense. It's impossible." "It's not defense," Varn muttered. The crew turned to him. "It's punishment." In one quiet mountain valley, a single human woman stood beside a smooth stone wall. She was older. Her uniform faded. She placed her hand on the stone and whispered an old command code. The mountain shuddered. Rocks fell away. Inside, glowing lights. A CTIVADA giant machine, half organic. Half machine opened its eyes after centuries. It didn't ask questions. It only responded to one command: protect Earth. And it walked forward. Meanwhile, inside a burning Empire cruiser in orbit, a lone human agent stood in the command room. Alarms blared. Smoke filled the air. Empire officers screamed. The human was calm. No weapon in hand. He simply placed a small black device on the table. Then he turned, looked the captain in the eye, and said, "What lies beneath Earth is something you never should have awakened." The device blinked once. Then the lights went out. Back on the ground. Ray stood alone in the black vault. Above him, ancient reactors hummed louder now. He spoke quietly into his mic. "All units, the trap is sprung." Across the Earth, human agents emerged from shadows. Every city, every ocean, every orbit point. And all of them had been waiting for this moment. The real war wasn't beginning. It had always been in motion. Asterisk, the smile that meant the end. The Empire had conquered hundreds of worlds, but never one that smiled back. And now, as Earth awakened, as its machines rose and shadows moved, one thing became clear: the smile wasn't kindness. It was a warning. High above Earth, General Varn stood on the burning deck of his flagship. His fleet was in chaos. Ships lost control. Communications were gone. Thousands of soldiers down. Dozens vanished. He stared at the screen, hoping for orders, hoping for anything. And then it came, not from his commanders, but from Earth. A broadcast broke through the static. The screen glowed white, then slowly faded into the image of a man commander. Ray. Same face, same scar. Same expression. But this time, the smile was wider, colder. He spoke calmly. "You brought your best." His eyes narrowed. "We brought our silence." Then his smile grew just a little more. "Now, we bring the end." Across Earth, the second wave began. It wasn't loud, but it wasn't rushed, that it was precise. Every Empire ship still trying to land vanished. In midair, as cloaked railguns fired from orbit, every surviving base was hit. By underground kinetic pulses destroyed from beneath, Empire commanders ran, but there was nowhere left to run, because Earth had never been invaded. The Empire had walked into a coffin already built for them. On the edges of Antarctica, a forgotten tower activated. It had no windows. No crew. Only light. A long-range transmission was sent straight into deep space. It carried just 4 words. Earth is not conquered. In orbit, one final battle began. A human warship, long thought decommissioned, decloaked near the Empires. Central Command ship. It was small. Old. Unimpressive. The Empire laughed. Until the ship fired once. A single lance of white-hot light pierced the void. The Empire's flagship cracked in half, without noise, without struggle, like paper beneath fire. Back in the black command center deep inside Earth, Ray watched the star map. Red dots blinked out one by one. He said nothing. Only his officers spoke. Final Empire units collapsing. No reinforcements detected. Signal spread to outer colonies. The Empire knows. Ray finally spoke. Good. Somewhere far, far from Earth, on a distant alien moon, an Empire governor received the message. She watched the footage of Earth's retaliation. She saw the smile, and she trembled. They smiled. She whispered. And then they erased us. At the end of the broadcast, Ray left one final message. His voice turned softer, more serious, but not less dangerous. We are human. We are from Earth. We don't start wars, but we never forget who brings them to our home. Then he leaned forward, and for one final time, he smiled. The screen turned black. Aboard the last surviving Empire cruiser drifting above Earth, a young alien soldier watched everything. He had never fought. He had only followed orders. Now, he saw what the others never understood. Earth wasn't just dangerous because of its weapons. Earth was dangerous because of its will. Its patience. And the fact that, even when surrounded, they smiled, not out of peace, but because they were ready. Always. Asterisk. No graves among the stars. The war was over. But there were no bodies. No remains. No wreckage drifting through space. Because Earth left no graves. Only silence. In the blackness of space. The last Empire cruiser floated alone. Its lights flickered. Hull cracked. Inside, only 6 survivors remained. Officers, warriors, all once proud. Now they sat quietly, watching the final message from Earth repeat again and again. We do not bury enemies in our skies. We bury history itself. General Varn was gone. His fleet erased. His soldiers forgotten. And Earth untouched, not because it was lucky, but because it had always been ready. In a distant corner of the galaxy, an emergency council of neutral worlds gathered. Ambassadors shouted, argued, debated. They watched recordings of Earth's retaliation on massive screens. One asked, was it defense or annihilation? Another answered, what difference does it make now? A third whispered, they didn't want peace. They wanted silence. And they got it. Back on Earth, Commander Ray stood on a hill overlooking what was once an empire. Landing zone. Now, it was clean, quiet, green again. Children played in the grass. Birds sang. The land had healed. And no one would ever know that a war had happened right here. No statues, no flames. No parades. Because Earth didn't celebrate survival. It expected it. A young cadet walked up behind Ray, holding a datapad. Sir, what do we do with the message logs from the Empire? Ray didn't answer right away. He stared at the horizon, the sun rising, touching the clouds with golden light. Then he said, archive them. But why? Shouldn't we show the galaxy what we did? Ray shook his head slowly. They already know. Elsewhere, in orbit, Earth's silent defense grid returned to sleep. Satellites cloaked again. The black phantoms returned to their hidden vaults. Machines powered down. The AI cores sang a soft tone. Earth didn't stay angry. It stayed ready. Always. Years passed. The Empire never returned. Their colonies fell into silence. Then rebellion. Then ruin. Stories of Earth became myths. Tales. Told to scare warriors. Legends to remind diplomats. Don't test the smiling planet. Some believed it. Others didn't. But none dared find out. One day, far beyond the stars, a lost alien ship picked up a faint human signal. It was old, cracked, damaged by time, but the words still played. Soft. Clear. And final. Earth is not a world. You conquer. It's the reason you think twice before trying. Then the transmission ended, and in the dark, a single smile emoji flashed. There were no medals. No speeches. Only a lesson carved quietly into the stars. Never mistake a quiet world for a weak one, and never fear a roar. Fear the smile before it. Asterisk.